Good afternoon, teens, and welcome back to the Bored Librarian. That's right, Miss Justin is back, and today I am going to show you how to make these adorable mini rainbow piñatas. So for today's project, you're going to need very minimal materials. In your kit, if you grabbed one from the library, we have included a cereal box, or you can find a cardboard box at home. This lovely little template, as well as various colored streamers. We have colors of the rainbow, so that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. We also added white and a light blue, as well as gold for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Things not included in your kit are scissors, tape, glue or glue stick, a black marker or Sharpie, and a piece of ribbon. Other than that, you are good to go. So the first step in our project is to glue down the entire template on top of the cereal box or the cardboard piece that you have. Once the glue has all dried, make sure you cut out all the shapes, and we are going to start with the first shape that is labeled A. So as you can see, I am cutting into the black filled trapezoid, and I'm only cutting the sides. Now, make sure that you do it all the way till the dotted line, because this will make assembling the rainbow a lot easier. And then you're just gonna wanna give those a little tuck in um, towards the middle of the line, and then fold and make creases along the dotted lines all over the shape that is labeled A. Now you're going to want to make a natural bend to this shape. So as you can see, I'm kind of making sure that the dotted lines are folded inward and that it's kind of have this like bendy shape to it. The next step in our project is to attach shape A to shape B1, and you're going to need to grab a piece of tape and starting from the bottom and working your way towards the other side, you're going to want to tape and tuck in the little trapezoids in between. As you can see, I tried taking off or ripping off the trapezoid and it didn't really work out too well for me. So instead, I decided to just give them a little tuck inside of the shape. Now, this entire piece is going to be covered, so I wouldn't worry about how it looks right now. This is just, the template that you're working with. It's going to be covered with the streamer, so don't worry about how it looks right now. Now, there is a natural crease in the cereal box, so if you had glued it down towards the flap, there should be like this natural fold, like extra piece. But if not, you can just kind of bend it towards that. That's going to be the little flap for the piñata. So you can just take your scissors and just give a little snip so it can be able to tuck in to the piñata. And you can see right here, it's a little difficult to explain, but you can kind of see how I'm trying my best to make sure it fits in to the slot. And the next step is to repeat and do it on the other side to shape B2. The next part is attaching the streamers to the actual piñata. So starting with the color red, you're going to work from the bottom around to the top to the other end. So it doesn't really matter which side you work on. I just naturally worked from the right side over to the left. So that's really up to you what you want to do. It does get a little messy, so just make sure that you are adding the glue. Be generous, but also not too much. As you can see, I'm making a mess of things. So just make sure that you're adding as much so that it sticks down. And the beauty of the streamers is you can add layers, and that's right. On top of the very top, especially with the red piece, it might be a good idea to do so. So again, as you can see now, I'm adding the vertical lines, making the ruffle shape. I probably could have waited a little bit to make sure it dried a little bit more, but as you can see, I'm holding it down at the top and making a mess of things. So again, make sure that your piece is dry and that it makes just the whole cutting the vertical lines just 10 times easier if you do. So as you can see, I'm adding a bit more layers to the red streamers. So again, it's your project. So if you feel like it needs a bit more, we did include a couple more pieces and we're very generous with the streamers. So again, feel free to add or use as many or as little of the streamers that is included in your kit. And then after this part, we are going to just continue adding the colors of the rainbow and repeating the same steps until we are up to the clouds. Next up is adding the clouds to the very bottom. So after you have attached the violet streamers, you are going to take small pieces of the white colored streamers and just kind of glue it down to hide any of the lines or the dotted lines on the template. As you can see, I'm just adding layers upon layers. And then once you have that kind of covered up, you can add the vertical lines if you'd like to. Or I kind of added a little extra. I took other pieces of the white streamers and kind of balled them up and to kind of make it look more like clouds. So as you can see, you just kind of scrunch it up and then you just kind of glue it down and have it dried up. And feel free to trim as you go along and adding your little accents of the clouds to your piñata. Once you're happy with the clouds, you can add just a layer at the bottom of the white ruffles if you have any left. And as you can see, I put glue down and I'm just kind of scrunching the white streamers on top of it to kind of give it that cloud look. Next step is to add the layers of the sky to the top of your piñata. So I took the light blue streamers and instead of just ruffling it, I decided to cut it into strips and then kind of in a cascading order glue it down to the top so it has this like cool ruffle ascending or descending actually look to it. So as you can see, um, I'm just adding and gluing and just layering. So it looks a little crazy, but it actually has a really cool effect to it at the very end. So just have fun with it. Do what you'd like. If you'd rather do the ruffles like I did with the clouds at the bottom, at the top, that's totally up to you. Again, that's the beauty of these projects. You can kind of make it your own. If you don't like the way it looks, you can change it up. And now we're finally moving on to the pot of gold at the very bottom. So as you can see, I'm coloring in with my black Sharpie, doing an outline and just, kind of making it stand out a little bit. Again, you can add this to it. You can choose to just leave your little mini piñata by itself, but it's March and I thought it might be kind of cool to add a little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for our little leprechauns to find. So there you go. After you have done coloring it in, you fold it onto the dotted lines. If you need to add extra glue like I did, feel free to. And then you kind of just attach it to each other. You can put a little piece of tape in between so it kind of sits upright. And lastly, you are going to take those pieces of gold streamers and just kind of glue it down to make it look like little gold popping out of the pot. And there you have it, folks. Your little mini pinata ready for some treats. You can add a piece of ribbon to the flap so you can have a functioning pinata, or if you'd rather not, it can be just a cute little decorative piece for your desk. I am the bored librarian. I hope you guys had a good time and I hope you join me for our next project. Thanks for tuning in.